Hello there, YouTube. We have a McIntosh MC2505 solid state power amplifier. It was released by McIntosh in 1967. It was the first to have glass front panel, and it was the first solid state amp of that line. First solid state amp that came out before, because they came out with tube amplifiers, vacuum tube amplifiers before that. Now this is a revolutionary amp, and this is the amp that was pretty much the future of all McIntosh amplifiers. This is pretty much the set in stone, the blueprint of the McIntosh, future McIntosh amplifiers. Now this is 100 watts, 50 watts per channel. This has got 4, 8, and 16 ohm speaker impedance loads. Transistorized with solid state, and it's a really clean sounding unit. It has the nice wooden top case to it. Now, this wooden case was optional. Okay, they had the option where you can just get the amplifier itself without the wooden case, without the wooden cabinet, or you can have just get this, or you can get both, but it costs more to get the wooden cabinet. I like this because it has the nice wooden cabinet. Yes, it will work without this cabinet, but without the cabinet, it looks better in a cabinet. I personally believe it looks better in a cabinet. It looks more vintage and looks like $1 million in a cabinet. Even out of cabinet, it looks good. But I always liked it in a cabinet. You had, I think you had dark wood and this color wood back then. This ain't that dark, but it's gonna come up dark on the camera. But it's a little lighter than the dark kind. Now, what you want to do when you get these amplifiers, okay? You want to get it out of the case, and how you get it out of the case is you push pan lock, Now it takes 2 hands, okay? You got to go like that, and you push it forward. You push them both, push the pan locks both in at the same time, if you can, and you wedge between here and you pull. Or you could do it this way. One hand here, one hand here, one hand in the back of the amp, inside, pushing that amp forward to slide it out because it's on a track. This amplifier has 2 metal tracks in it. Okay, it's got one on this side, and it's got one on this side. And now some people, I noticed when I'm servicing these amps, they try to go in the back and they try to unscrew the little nut in the back. Right there. They try to unscrew that because they think that's the way it comes out. Some people don't know about the pan lock. The pan lock is a great thing McIntosh did with this, because this locks it in. Alright, you take it out, okay? You're going to have a plate here. That plate covers the meter lights, the meter circuit, okay? And it's got 2 screws here, 2 screws on the other side. They're like this. 2 screws there, 2 screws there. You lift that up, okay? Then you can get in there, and your bulbs are all right here. Usually, if you hadn't touched it and it's original, it will be incandescent bulbs. It'll be tungsten type bulbs. Now they're bayonet. You have lights here. You don't need to take the front off to service the meter lights if they ever go out. But it's best to service all lights at one time because if you put new bulbs in with old bulbs, the old bulbs will get weaker and eventually go out next, and you have to pull it all apart again. You can use LEDs for this. They make in McIntosh, they make LEDs for McIntosh, which is really nice. But you got to find the right color you want, the right bulb number. Always go by the bulb number. Go by the voltage on the bulbs, and go by the color warm white. Warm white will work with this because it'll give this front end a nice, very clean touch. Like you see, gives that nice blue effect. This is always green. Do never change that to blue. This is always green. The meter is only, the 2 meters here are the only thing that's blue. The rest down here is all green. Okay. Now on the front of this panel, well, let me get back to the bulbs first. So you got 2 per meter, 2 bulbs per meter. They're bayonet. They push in and turn. Now, in order to get this front off, you have to take this off. Let's say you already replaced them bulbs, and now you want to get the front panel off, clean that really good, and all that. What you do is you take this off, you take these knobs off, push them off, they push off, and you can clean them with dish soap or whatever. Don't put any harsh abrasive chemicals onto it because it will affect it. Any abrasions, like, you know, like really hard scrub brushes, you never want to do that. You only want to touch a scrub brush on this faceplate, or even on the inside, because the inside is just like a panel sticker. It's pretty much a sticker or whatever. However they did this on the back panel, which is neat though. I like it. But over time, you will have to probably replace it. See there, it gets bubbly because the heat from the bulbs. Now I got all LEDs in this, all LEDs for McIntosh. You want to make sure they're for McIntosh. Okay, make sure they're always for McIntosh. What you want to do is you pull all these off. They push off like this. Okay. They push on the same way. Once you got all these off, there are felt pads behind here. The felt pads are to prevent the volume knob, the knobs, from scratching the glass faceplate. Okay. Take them off. Put them in a safe place. Don't lose them. And it's best to take pictures of when you work on this. That way you know how to put things back together. Okay, got all that done. All this is off. Then you slide the panel forward, the faceplate forward. Take it off. You don't want to take all this off. Just leave it all in one piece. Okay. You get behind here with. It's best to use visible glass because it's got alcohol in it. Cleans really good. Clean all this up, clean all that up, put it to the side, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to get inside. There's potentiometers underneath here, and they got a slot where you spray. You take some of this stuff right here called Deoxit F5, okay? Deoxit F5. That's very good stuff right there. Called Deoxit F5. You use the Deoxit F5 because if you read on what it says lubricates and protects plastic to plastic, plastic to metal surfaces for conductive plastic faders and controls. Cleans and lubricates, improves connections, protects surfaces. Flushing action. This stuff works amazing. You spray that to the side of the potentiometer, then you want to take your hand like that and go back and forth like that because it's got contacts in there, and you want to make sure them contacts are getting clean really good. Okay, like that. Go back and forth. Okay, then you clean that up. Let's say you got all of them sprayed. Then you want to go to your meter. You want to make sure it's off first. Then you go just like that. Okay, you can put the knobs back on even with the faceplate off. It doesn't matter. Okay, and what that does, that cleans it really good. Then you got your speaker on and off because this has a speaker output transformers. Okay, a lot of amps don't have speaker output transformers. McIntosh does. Speaker output transformer protects anything from coming in. So you have a speaker on and off, and you have a power on and off. And what you want to do is you want to do that. That cleans it really good. And then when the unit's off, you make sure it's off. I run everything through a Variac, and then through my Variac, I run it through an isolation transformer that separates it from the house mains. See that? but you want to make sure that's off. Okay, you got all that clean now. Behind here, you're going to have a plastic plate. Well, actually, let's start with the meters. You're going to have a blue color thing, or whatever you call them things. Okay, it's a little blue panel here. You can get replacements on eBay to sell them on there cheap. I'm sure they do. They got kits for them. Yeah, 2 screws here, flat blades. Take them off, and yours will probably have some felt around it that's dry rotted from over the years. Just clean that off really good. Then you clean your panel off really good, okay? And then if you want, you can go ahead and put that back on, but leave it off. Put your screws and everything. Take plenty of pictures, and you'll have a panel over here that has some lights in it. Take them screws off, clean that, and that'll brighten this up a lot because this gets oxidized. All this gets oxidized over the years, okay? Then once you're done with that, okay, let's say you got all that, you clean your bulbs up. If you have good bulbs and they're dirty, but they just need cleaning and they're perfect condition, put them back in, just wipe them off with it, cleaner or whatever, and stick them back in. They're bayonet. And if you want to change it to LEDs, that's your choice. Make sure they say for McIntosh, okay? Now, once you're done with that, you can go ahead and put everything back together on the front side. You're done. Now, when you're working on this and you got this out of its case, the chassis in the back, okay, let's say this case is no longer here. The chassis on the back is much smaller than the front panel. You never want to sit the whole thing on the bench with this cocked up because it will crack your faceplate. You want to make sure this is hanging off and it's got about a gap right there. And the amp is still on the back end of the chassis is still on the bench. Okay, that prevents it in case you're working on it. You don't want this to wiggle around because if it wiggles around, it's going to crack and break, shatter because it's glass. So always hanging off the bench. Now, number 2, never use WD-40 in potentiometers. It's not for potentiometers. It's a lubricant-based formula for lubricating stuff like door hinges, squeaky stuff. It's not for electronic potentiometers. You have this stuff. This is what you're supposed to use for it. Never put WD-40, any kind of lubricant, on a potentiometer, in a potentiometer. Never spray it in there. Use contact cleaner. That's the best thing for it. This SD-Oxid F5 series puts a protective coating over top of the connections inside. Okay, puts a protective coating over top of it, and it's good for another few years. Okay, never do that. Now, let's say you're done with that. You already got your potentiometer spray. You already adjust your controls. And you want to put your faceplate back on. Okay, you do everything like I said. Put this back in. You got your screws. I think it's 3 or 4 screws. Comes down to here and goes up to here. Okay, so it goes down here, over to here. Not over top of this, over here. It stops about right there. Comes up, goes over. Okay, and once that's done, your screws it back in. Put your blue plate back on with your 2 flat blade screws in the center. Slide this back on. Make sure it lines up with your pan lock things and your potentiometers. Slide it on. Put your felt pads on. Once you put your felt pads on, make sure these are all turned down. Okay, never have them up like that. Always make sure they're turned down. Then you do that. You push them on. Then you're good to go. Then you want to flip the amp over. You got some screws on the side and on the back bottom of this. There's a case, a metal case. You want to unscrew all that. That's where your main circuitry is. You want to check for cold solder joints, cracked circuit boards, anything. Capacitors, leaky capacitors. Get them out of there. Okay, if you have leaky capacitors, get them out of there. Don't worry about reforming them. They got plenty of them out there that are better. Just change it over, but make sure you take plenty of pictures. Okay? Check, do an inspection, make sure everything looks good. There's no cold solder joints and whatever. This is called a full restoration. Do that, you're good to go, and that's all you got to do. Okay, you check it, you check it, you check it really good, thorough, and then you want to do a sound check, a sound test. Okay, we'll give you a sound test real quick. Let's say you got everything checked out really good, and it's passed. Okay, let's say it's passed. You should be good to go. And then what you want to do is you want to check it all out, okay? Make sure you use it down. So, let's say you got the amp sitting up just like this without the wooden case, okay? And you just checked everything, everything looks good. You might have changed a few parts or whatever. Now, on the back of this, you have a common, and you have your speaker impedance. You have 4, 8, 16 ohm loads. Your common, one goes on the common, and one goes on whatever impedance your speakers you're running. Okay, never go lower, never go higher than the speaker impedance of your speakers that you're running, because you will blow it out. Because remember, this is 100 watts, 50 watts per channel. Okay, plug your RCAs in, you plug your common in, and you say you got 8 ohms. So that's what I'm plugged into, 8 ohms for a shop here. Plug your 8 ohms in, and you test to make sure this is all down. Okay. And then you want to play your music. Make sure your speakers are on. I'll just give you a little front meter action. Beautiful, ain't it? There's people sleeping in my house, otherwise I'd crank it up. There's people sleeping in there, so I can't do it. See them moving a little bit, they're definitely gonna move. Alrighty. I cleaned the case up really well. McIntosh is complete. Love this amp. McIntosh Mc2505 solid state stereo power amplifier. Try to give it a little more gain. See that? Okay, I gotta turn it down because otherwise people are sleeping. Alright guys, thank you for tuning in. On this, there will be more videos coming up. I plan to work on a Harman Kardon HK670 twin powered from the 1970s. So I'll probably be going live here soon in a few minutes or whatever. So, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, favorite, and all that. And be a part of this. Because I always wanted to do YouTube. Always had a passion for doing my repairs on camera on YouTube for you guys, the viewers, and share my knowledge. I mean, I know there's a lot of hi-fi guys out there. Yeah, probably a lot of older guys gonna watch this. But ever since I was a kid, I always had a passion for vintage. That new stuff it's okay, it works, but you know, it's nothing like the vintage. It's nothing like vacuum tubes or early solid state stuff like this. You know, it's got beautiful face plates. It's got analog meters. You know, I just love this stuff. Love repairing it too. So, alright guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all your support, all your likes, all your subscribing. Appreciate it all. I'm new to this, so please don't mind the shaky camera. And I should see you guys soon. Thank you very much.